So, hello, thanks for watching. This is a palm reading for a 42-year-old male. I was emailed these palms and asked to do a reading. He has only told me that he's 42. It's useful to have an age because I can put things into a bit more relevance around what's happening closer to the time of his life at the moment. So, just to summarize the kind of category we're looking at here, it's a fire hand. It's a long palm and short fingers. The Saturn finger is it's not 7/8 of the palm's length or longer. So we know we have a short Saturn finger. Therefore, and that's the Saturn finger, or the middle finger is the longest finger of the palm. So that's how we determine short or long fingers. So we have a rectangular palm and short fingers. So this is a fire hand. And with some conic fingers, Venus mount is well developed, Neptune and Luna's fairly well developed as well. The fingers are doing a strange little dance on their own. They're all sort of veering away from the rest of the world, and the two middle fingers are quite distant. All the fingers are sort of splayed out, which is nice. It's showing that this person is reaching out for ideas and inspiration, and also putting those very same ideas into action and out there into the world. But at the same time, they're all sort of facing away from the palm. So if you look here, not so much with Jupiter, only a slight sort of turn at the third phalanx, but it's the same with the other three as well. Just where the fingers meet that third phalanx there's a sort of shift, especially with Mercury there. And this shows that this person is searching outwards and is in sort of an isolated journey of discovery, I suppose. It's hard to explain, but this person requires isolation, is someone who works best alone. And in order to express themselves and to conjure up the ideas that they're very able to put into practice, they need to be alone. And I say that they're able to put their ideas into practice because of the thumb. If you look at the thumb here, the first phalanx, if you like, it works slightly differently with the thumb than the fingers. The tip of the thumb, or the phalanx, the first phalanx, is willpower. The second is logic or ideas, and the base, or the mount of Venus, acts as the third phalanx of the thumb, and this is a person's ability to overall desires to carry out that the logic, which are the ideas, and then the will, the kind of drive to put them into action. So to sort of summarize, we have I will, I want, and I can. And notice how that willpower is longer, and it's sort of stronger than logic. So that the drive, the ability to put those ideas into action is very strong. The ideas themselves aren't quite as equal as the ideas, which is not necessarily a bad thing. If anything, you want willpower to be just ever so slightly stronger and longer than logic, than the second phalanx of the thumb. And this is because too many ideas, too many irons in the fire, it's never a good thing. You try to chase two rabbits and you'll catch none. It's that sort of thing. So it's better to have one or two solid plans and the drive to carry them out and tie up those loose ends than too many. And this person certainly has an idea as to what it is they want to do. And this is shown in the left hand quite strongly with the career line, after the age of late 40s, because the career appears to sort of stem. We're looking at the left hand here, so this is inherent. This is the person's sort of feelings and thoughts, and how this is what's shown introspectively, sort of inside the person emotionally. This is what's hidden. The left hand. The right hand shows us the same, details, but in a more sort of practical, physical sense, that what's possible to see. And so you can see that this person desired a career working in the limelight in some way, or at least working with others, which is interesting because, as I say, they're a bit of a loner. So it's almost as though there's some contradiction there within their character. And I say they're a loner because of, it's hard to sort of see here, the distance between the two middle fingers. It's not incredibly far apart, but on the right hand, there's a greater distance, which shows us that this person has become more of an introvert, perhaps, or has realized they actually work better alone. Perhaps they've become their own boss. So, you could, from these things, you could kind of start guesstimating, well, this is someone who's self-employed and is perhaps, the boss of their own business. They have, as I say, a good amount of self-belief here and a good ability to put these plans into action. The career tends to, the thoughts, the ideas, the aspirations as to what they want to do post late 40s is turning more towards an area of authority and teaching, because the career heads towards Jupiter here, and that's the place of ambition and ego and authority and judgment, honor. It's a place of all things kind of associated with that god Jupiter. And I say Jupiter, we use all these kind of Greek terms in Western palmistry, and it's just a way to sort of simplify and classify the meanings that the certain areas of the palms represent. So, this career heading towards Jupiter, this person has an idea as to, where they want to end up. They've got an idea. They're at a place now in their life, 42, as I mentioned, and that is actually around here. So they're actually at a bit of a crossroads area in their life here. No, this is not the mystic cross. It's a convergence of lines. One great obstacle, probably likely stemming from family. I have a theory about that, and I'll get to that in a minute. And that obstacle crosses the career. So, a mystic cross, I'll get back to what we're talking about probably in a second, is it has to be more isolated, like this, or like that, cross or an X. It has to be much more profound, deep, isolated on its own, is what I mean. Not sort of, two major lines crossing over, and that's just a coincidental convergence of lines. Now, we've got quite a lot of squaring going on the Jupiter mount up here, and this is why I kind of came to that conclusion that, perhaps there's a sense of wanting to teach. So perhaps what this person is doing at the moment, and might not necessarily be self-employed, but perhaps they have an idea to kind of utilize these inherent skills that they have, and put them into practice in a role that's more authoritative and pays better, and perhaps suits their skills a bit better. Because, we do have on the left hand here, the Jupiter finger is certainly on the longish side. It's a good length, and it's well developed, and it's leaning towards the thumb, which again, that it's as though this person's decision making is kind of leans more towards their drive, their motivation to carry things out, to persevere. So I think this person at this time in their life, there's a big obstacle, and that is this here. It's this obstacle that's crossing over their career at the moment. It's becoming problematic, and they've already come out of one a couple of years ago as well. On the lifeline there, you can see and it can be a bit confusing because here we have the lifeline, here's the headline, here's the career line, and these obstacles all coming from Venus here and family, place of home and stability and relationships. They are quite strong obstacles, and I say they're obstacles because sometimes they're influence lines. Sometimes family can be, as much of an obstacle as support. And in this case, it's not influence that's supportive because it's crossing over the life, the head, and career. So it's becoming an issue. It's becoming an obstacle. And as we look further down the lifeline, you can see here this is about the age of 25, and then again late 20s, early 30s, 35-ish, and you can see that at the same time on the career line that these times in their life are slightly different on the career line. So here's 25, here's late 20s, here's early 30s, as I mentioned. So you can sort of see that actually they correspond in different ways on different areas. It's a bit confusing, but there is a corroboration in the palm, and that's what us palmists look for. And as I say, that they've already been through a lot of these obstacles, and the one sort of obstacle they've got going on at the moment is quite prominent, it's quite profound, and this is because, again, this is the left hand, this is how it's affecting them at the moment, or it's soon to affect them. And as I say, I feel like I have my own theories as to what this is. So if we look on the left hand here, you can see a relationship line, and it sort of forks. It forks like this, and that second fork is quite long. And what this shows us is a breakdown in a relationship. So I think what we're looking at is a divorce here, and I think this person has decided, okay, I'm not going to do that again. And because I don't see on the right hand any sort of future relationships, that doesn't necessarily mean there isn't going to be one, because partly lines change, but also the photograph of the right hand on that particular area, the side of percussion, it's not all that clear. It's just not, there's not much clarity within the image. And I can't really see much going on there. So I don't think there's any plans or desires to get involved in a relationship at this time. I think this person is more focused at the moment on sorting out what's going on in their life and resolving these issues. And you can see on the right hand, as I say, the right hand shows us how things affect us materialistically and practically and in the physical. And, so, I mean, I've just been looking at this now, and this is all quite complex, but we can see how it's all interconnected. There seems to have been, there's always at least one or two serious sort of crossroads moments in everybody's lives. And with this person, it appears that around the age of late 20s was one of those crossroads, and there's another one coming up, or at least this person is in it now. Or it's just around the corner for this person, if not happening right now. So we can see here we've got an island on the lifeline, and I'm going to sort of talk myself through this as I go, because I'm still kind of figuring this out, but this is quite a lengthy island, a long period of upheaval, stress, and it's where the life's energies are kind of, there's an obstacle there, and there's not enough, there isn't a decent flow. It's unhappiness at this time because of challenges at home in the work life, or their sort of living environment is being opposed, or there's obstacles in the way there. And you can see it's quite lengthy, and it lasts up, as I say, up until the age of sort of late 20s. And just at the end, around at the end of that point, there seems to be I don't know exactly what this is, but it's like an opportunity has arisen for this person to change the course of their career, and it's as though this person has had some sort of revelation about what they want to do and what they need to do to achieve those things. And as I say, it's again, we're coming back around on a career, looking at a career in something of a higher authority and honor and teaching and judgment. It's like this person has had a bit of a revelatory moment at this period in their life. And as I say, this is the right hand, so this is more the sort of physical. This is more practical and material. So what exactly happened here, I'm still trying to figure out. And I think I say this quite a lot in palmistry: when one door closes, another opens. And I think that's what may have happened here. This person found an opportunity and took it and realized that this was, they started playing the long game. So we can see that their career, in the sort of late 20s here, it's not happy, is it? It's not strong, it's not deep, it's not straight. It's a bit faint and a bit sort of all over the place. And originally it was a sort of, oh, okay, shall I do this sort of physical, laborious job that's a little bit closer to Venus, this place of strength and effort, and the kind of job that this person is not suited or happy doing, and this was what they wanted to do and tried to do, but it was hard. It didn't earn them very much money, and the two kind of come together, and there's a change there. So it's almost like they met in the middle and made a sort of compromise. Still, the career didn't earn them very much right up until the age of about 35. From 35 onwards, that career started to make them more money. Generally speaking, where the career line meets the headline is the age 35. It depends. And here we have a headline that starts really quite high on the palm, and that shows us someone who's very ambitious and someone that's quite sort of money focused. And initially this person was money focused, because we can see the headline is heading more for an area of outer Mars. But after this period, this late 20s period, as I say, they had a bit of a revelation. The headline tends to take it a different direction, and I think that's the kind of psychological outlook change. So as I say, this is a revelatory moment for them. I've got to say, this is a bit of a challenging one for me. So where a line begins is where it's at its strongest, and that is actually up here. So I'm coming back on myself a bit now. I actually think that perhaps this was, because here we've got a bit of a, it's like a ring of Saturn, what's it called? It's a bit like a girdle of Venus, but in any case, we've got the line actually comes from up on Saturn and crashes down into the lifeline. So I'm wondering if actually this person had a bit of a breakdown in their sort of late 20s, and as I say, when one door closes, another opens. Perhaps this person, things had to change, and sometimes things have to get worse before they can get better, and that seems like that's what's happened here. Whatever happened to this person, it was complex. It was traumatic, and it's provided them with some unusual insights, and I think they plan to use their experience, turn this negative into a positive, and make some sort of career out of it. It's hard to say here. I mean, when I look at this palm, I kind of think I'm looking at the hand of someone who is quite physical. It's possible this is someone in some sort of military role, and I'm wondering if that's what the this breakdown is linked to. This is a really tough one, and you can see that this obstacle in early 30s is directly linked to this not early 30s, sorry, late 30s, is directly linked to this event that appears to have occurred in late 20s. I don't know how it's linked and what relevance is there. But this is late 30s anyway, and this moment here is actually where they're at in their life right now. And again, when you see these sort of lines coming from the heart line, they're kind of flicking downwards like this. This shows us someone whose sort of emotions aren't focused. Sometimes it shows us someone who is quite flirtatious, so they're not focused in their relationship, if that makes sense. They're kind of looking elsewhere, potentially. And that's not to say that that's what's occurred with this person as to, why their relationship broke down exactly. But it does sort of show, although there is a lot of drive and focus with this person's ideas, emotionally, there's an element to this person where they might struggle. So I think I would advise this person meditates. I think they would get a lot from meditation, yoga. I believe they already do some sort of exercise alone, and that's how they kind of express themselves, and that's why sort of Mercury, at the third phalange, we know this is independence, and after independence, where we've got this, ideas around logic and science and persuasion and communicating our message. These are kind of separate to independence, and it's hard to explain, but this person, I think, benefits from being alone. As I stated earlier, they're a bit of a loner, and they achieve more. They're more productive when they are sort of independently expressing themselves, and their way of expressing themselves, I feel, is quite sort of physical. There may be other sort of creative avenues of expression for this person as well, partly because of how we see on the left hand, we've got a bit of a career, a desire to kind of have some sort of audience. Neptune is well developed. They have an ability to captivate an audience. And then we've also got a bit of a sun line stemming from the heart line. That's always a sign of artistic flair. And also, here's something I noticed earlier, we've got a bit of a peacock's eye going on up here. And that shows someone with sort of some unique talents and a bit of a show off. So there are, whilst this person needs a bit of a loner, there are kind of elements where they like to put themselves out there, but on their own terms. At the same time, they do require their own freedom, isolation in that freedom. So getting back to this, actually, this big mystery at hand, I think it's important for this person to stick to the straight and narrow at this point in their life. Not all that glitters is, not all is as it seems. And it looks like a bit of a square is beginning to form from this age of 42, and that shows a need to protect. Squares are excellent, they're protecting. It's not fully formed yet, so that shows that there's something, as I say, this person's at a sort of crossroads, and there's something just around the corner that could become a bit of an obstacle. And you see here this heart line, it's sort of threatening to become an obstacle in the career. Career from sort of late 30s onwards actually looks really good, even though this looks like an obstacle and it's linked to what happened here. Career doesn't seem to be affected from this. So like I say, I think this person is turning a negative into a positive. I think they are very in tune with their emotions. I think they're very intuitive, but I think on the flip side, there can be a tendency to have some sort of lack of control around their emotions, and this is partly why I say that it's important for them to meditate and perhaps receive some counselling for whatever it is they've gone through. Maybe they're already doing that. I don't know. But there's no harm in trying that out. Sometimes CBT is extremely useful for some people. You have to find the right counsellor. That's the tricky part. But overall, we've got a lot of I can in this person. They have a good idea as to what it is they want to do, and they're going to do it. And I do think that this person, after this little crossroads section that they're in at the moment, things are going to get better for this person. And there's an effort made here, and that's why I've done that. There's an effort here around, mid-40s, I'd say, so that's not too far away in terms of an effort made towards improving this person's life, the happiness in their life. They work towards building a sort of happier future for themselves, which is nice because actually this person has been through quite a lot. And there's certainly a plan to move away when they're older as well, to kind of relocate. And I think that does happen around the age of early 50s, early to mid 50s. They will relocate, not necessarily long distance, or at least they will go travelling with a view to sort of look for property and move later on, and I think that might happen. So that's really nice. But I would certainly advise this person to utilise the instincts that they have and not to rely on others. Not that I think they do, but they're, as I say, stick to the straight and narrow. Stick to what it is that whatever's working. Don't fix what isn't broken, because this is working, and there is a possibility, a sort of something is trying to threaten your happiness. I don't think it'll work. I think you will be happy. I think everything is going to work out all right. So don't rely on others. Don't trust others. You're not necessarily, incredibly, you're not a gullible person necessarily. You're quite a cautious. This is quite a cautious person. However, there is a possibility for others to try and step in and steal that happiness, it seems. So do good things for others. Meditate, yoga, counselling. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't fix what isn't broken. And don't be tempted by things that, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And that's I think about it for this one. I don't think there's much more I can say. So I hope that's all made sense. I've not been actually all that good with this one because I found it very challenging trying to determine exactly what's gone on here, and I probably shouldn't, because sometimes it's just not really possible, and if I'm not sure I shouldn't say, but I like a challenge and I'd like to know how wrong or right I got this one. So thanks for watching. I hope that you've all kind of gotten something from this. I'm just sorry it was all a bit scatty. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is to learn myself. With every palm I read, or try to, I learn something. Everyone is unique, and in every reading there's at least one lesson. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.